probably made like $5 million on the internet. He can send them like Jack's testimonial. He did like $50,000 in like 3 months with us. There's this fucking PSYOP campaign that I'm just subliminally on their newsfeed all the time. So this one's literally just a photo of an award we got that says we're one of the top 5 independent agencies of the year. Photo of me like as listed as one of the finalists for like Australian Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Closed 100%, like 16 out of 16 people. Dropped 2K over the phone. With something else which really helps at the tail end of the marketing process is I'm out here in Thailand. Me and 3 of my friends are staying in this 4-story villa thing, and we're doing a mastermind for the week. We just wrapped up our individual lectures on our personal areas of expertise, and I did mine on how I've grown my own businesses with cold funnels and ads. It's going to be super different to my usual Club Promoter content because it's based off of the decade I've been marketing on the internet, the close to $20 million in ad spend either myself or my agency has managed for either ourselves or our clients. And so I'm going to jump into that now. Hopefully you guys find it valuable. If you do like this kind of content, as well as my Club Promoter content, let me know in the comments because this is the first time I'm kind of posting this stuff. So we'll jump in now. This is like the main way that I've made most of my money on the internet for like the last 4 years. So I was probably made between Where You, Industry Set, The Institute, fuck it, I'll count Quincy's MRE Academy as well, probably made like $5 million on the internet. And it's just, for me anyway, the fucking easiest way because it's literally just a math formula. Like you've probably seen this before where, you know, CPM is your cost per milli. So like for Where You, like we're targeting business owners, cost like $80 to get like 1,000 impressions. Our CTR is 1.5%, opt-in rate 7%, booking rate 60%, show rate 70%, team closes average like what, 25% now? So on like a 4.5K product, we're spitting out like 94K in revenue if we're spending like $500 a day, you know, on ads. So it's like every dollar we're putting into this thing, we get $6 back out. And I've had loads of different, like obviously you guys know the main way I've been doing it is like cold funnels, or sometimes you'll hear me refer to it as like a 2-step funnel. I've had like every single fucking variation of a cold funnel for like the last 5 years. So for example, I'm just gonna start recording my Loom as well. Like I've done lead magnet funnels, I've done application funnels, I've done survey funnels, I've done all these different kinds of funnels, and the one that I'm running now is obviously my favorite one because why the fuck else would I be running an old one? And so what it is an integration between like Typeform and Calendly, because in the past I'd run like lead magnet funnels where you'd request a free training video on page 1 for name, email, mobile, and then on page 2 you would request a call. There's some benefits and there's some pros and cons to every single strategy, but the pros of the lead magnet funnel is you'll capture like lots of emails. Like we've got 20,000 emails in our Where You database. But the downside, however, though, is there's just less intent because the intent from someone that just gives you their name, email, and mobile for a lead magnet is very, very low. And so there's also this like mental disconnect you have from when they like opt in for the free training video and then they get to the booking page. There's just this like bridge in their head which is like, why do I need to book this call now? So sometimes you'll get fucking idiots that book calls with Tim and they're like, I thought this was the free training video. I was like, motherfucker, it was literally on the page that you just booked this call on. The other thing as well is the main thing is just there's less intent. So I've started doing application funnels because it's far higher intent. Now, I actually still disguise it as a free training video, but I don't make them opt in for it because I think we've gone through like a phase of like, advertising goes through phases, just like fashion and music. And so I've noticed that everyone knows how like a lead magnet funnel works. Everyone knows that like on the, like nothing's free. So like on the name, some people are fucking idiots and they're like, oh, why are you spending money on this then? But what I do now is the free training video is just the VSL, the video sales letter on the first page. And in the ad, I say no email opt-in. So it tells them like, you can watch this free training video without an email opt-in. Now what this means obviously is you get less quantity leads, but the leads coming through a higher quality because the free training video is just a disguised VSL, which goes, yes, I know what I'm talking about. Yes, this is how it works. Yes, I have social proof, all this stuff, so that they actually scroll down, go next step, get your custom business growth plan to smash your monthly revenue targets finally. And then there's a Typeform which integrates with Calendly. Now what this means is, usually what would happen is if you did a survey funnel, you'd have the survey on page 1, they'd complete it, and if they're qualified, they go to the booking page on page 2. And it'd still get a pretty high booking rate because the survey before that justifies the calendar widget after that. But the problem is that they're now out of one process and they had to start another process. And so the booking rate on the second page will be like max 30%. Whereas if you do this Typeform and Calendar integration, my stats show me that the booking rate is like 70%. Because it's part of the same process. And what it means also is, like if I go through this one, there's a couple questions that like qualify them, like which best describes you post a lot of content to get customers, relying on word of mouth referrals, blah, 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 blah. That's a good one. What kind of service are you? This is my first disqualification question. What kind of business are you? Sorry. So if they say e-commerce, they can still complete the form, but it doesn't let them book. It just doesn't even give them the Calendly option. So if we go service, what kind of service do you provide? This just gives us a little bit of context. So what this means is Tim, if he really wants to like fucking go out on the like nurturing process is, if they say education and coaching, he can send them like Jack's testimonial. He did like $50,000 in like 3 months with us. If he sees like fitness and health, he can send like a PT one. If he sees like automotive mechanic, he can ask like, hey, you another referral from Phil and stuff like that, right? So we can contextualize both Tim's like lead up process to chatting with them. It also, I haven't set it up yet, but it means we can automate some of that stuff too, right? Let's go education and coaching. Average monthly revenue. So if someone says that I don't think I set this as a disqualification question, but it just gives us some context onto kind of where they're at. Their websites. This one here, what best describes your capacity to grow at the moment? If they say they're at capacity, doesn't let them book. Because the people that book those calls, they're just like curious, they're shopping around, they're probably with an agency at the moment, they just want to feel busy by booking a fucking call. So if they hit I'm at capacity, doesn't let them book. This is another one. How quickly do you want to see that growth happen? If they say I'm not in a rush, chuck me on a waiting list, it does exactly that. It doesn't let them book. And then it goes name, email, and then it's still part of the same process. It will open up Calendly within the widget, not within the same page. Oh, fuck it. Oh yeah, we're both away, so there's no times available. When there are times available and they click a time, it will autofill all their contact details from the last step. So all they need to do is pick a day, a time. They don't need to re-enter their details. It just books in a call. There's some other stuff on this page that I'll talk about too. I don't really have a structure for this talk, so I'm just gonna like yap about different components on the page. The main one that was like a massive revelation was like me and Jackson like 2 years ago. Was it a year? No, it was a year ago, wasn't it? When we made the background photo of the funnel, just us talking to like 12 people. Yeah, like double the conversion rate. So the background image is me talking on stage and you can see everyone sitting in front of me paying attention. So subconsciously, it just shows authority. That's the main thing. That's the first thing I did with your funnel, remember? Like that's a really, really big one. So when it loads on desktop, sometimes they don't see the like need to scroll down thing. So I added this little GIF image here, which on mobile loads just below the video so they can see there's something to scroll down to. Testimonials, I found that doing Google or like written reviews first works the best. So I'll do embedded Google reviews. High level also lets you like filter by like rating, like minimum rating. So if fucking I think Tim, you got us like a 1 star because some fucking dude like didn't like his sales process or something like that. You can just like filter those out. And then we'll do like screenshot testimonials. So like Jack's wins, text message wins. And then we'll do the testimonials. Now, the video testimonials. With the video testimonials, there's a very particular kind of format to them. So for example, most people when they get testimonials, the testimonial is just like, yep, I worked with Brandon and Tim and they were really friendly. And it like, you had to consider your testimonials like a piece of marketing material because they are. And so when you consider the placement, most of the people that are watching your testimonials are people right on the fence. Maybe they've booked a call or they've already attended a call and now they're just doing their due diligence or something like that. You need to contextualize it to them. And so if someone's saying like, yeah, I work with Brandon, he's really friendly, that isn't useful to someone that is trying to decide. They want to hear a story. And so the general story arc is like, you get the person to introduce themselves and talk about the situation they had before coming to you. So it might be like, yeah, I was relying on word of mouth. I've been with like 4 different agencies in the past and nothing really worked out for me. And then the killer question is like, what were your main hesitations before buying and what got you over the line in the end? Because that's also for someone that's just about to buy the main thing in their head. They're like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. I've been with agencies in the past. So when you get Tiana saying, yeah, I was with 4 agencies in the past, I was fucking nervous about this one too, gets them relaxed a little bit and like overcome that mental objection they have. And then you have questions like, what did you love the most? And so you might get stuff like, yeah, I love the fact that it was like really like we were sitting in a room with them, pointing the screen, telling them what to click and type. And then like, what results did you get afterwards? And the other killer question is like, if anyone was watching this and unsure about booking a call or they were sitting on the fence or something like that, like what would you say to them? And then that's when you get the really, really, really good stuff. And the way tactically that you edit these videos is I'll get the most impactful statement that they said in the video and put it at the front as like a hook, you know, like black and white or something like that. So for example, we always rinse, like, is it Mel's testimonial where she's like, yeah, I was literally the partner objection because I told Chris not to enroll in this thing. And then I was the person who was like, this is fucking incredible, this is awesome. And so whenever Tim gets a partner objection, like I need to go speak to someone who goes, yeah, go watch this one, Mel said the same thing. And so the testimonials are not only just useful on the landing page, but also in the sales process too. So in the lead up to the thing, you can make sure that they're framed and ready to go. And then in the follow-up process as well, you can contextualize that. Because we use the testimonials both before and after the actual sales conversation itself, because you don't just want like quantity and quality leads, we want framed leads as well. So typically what happens is when we work with like other businesses anyway, is there's always a disconnect between the marketing and the sales team. So like marketing says sales can't sell, sales team says the leads are shit. Where if they just fucking talk to each other and get feedback, then the whole thing can just do better. And so one of the things you want to talk to the sales team about is like, okay, what's every single thing that you want someone thinking coming into a sales call so that they're like an easy layup deal and you're more of a cashier than a salesperson, right? And so some common ones that come up is like, they'll want to know how the program works. They want to know that it works. That it gets results. They want to know that it works for them specifically. So like if someone's a PT and you're only sending them testimonials of financial services, they're like, well, none of these people are my thing. And so you need to contextualize that too. In the nurture, so framing the leads happens like a couple of different ways. Firstly, it happens on the landing page. So some things that do that are like the VSL. But the thing with the VSL is this video is 50 minutes long. No one's watching after like 30 seconds. And so humans are just trying to conserve energy. That's the whole thing that they're just trying to do their entire life, is just get the outcome that they want with burning as few calories as possible. And having to watch a 40-minute video is a lot of calories. And so they'll just watch as little as they need to decide to do the next step. So if I was to refilm, so I actually edited this video very like carefully. So at the start, the first like frame is like me on a Zoom call and there's lots of people there. So in the first, like as soon as the video loads, you're like, Brandon is addressing a lot of people. So you don't even need to unmute it to go, okay, Brandon's got authority. And then the next slide is like how to grow a business without burning money on ads. And they're like, okay, cool, I'm like the right place, right? So it shows like authority and outcome in the first like 10 seconds. And so most people just get to this part and then book a call. It's like, fuck it, I'll take your word for it, right? And if they watch the whole thing, that's helpful. But the other problem too is that because they didn't watch the other 40 minutes, that's also kind of a problem, because in the next 40 minutes, I have testimonials, I have screenshots, I explain how it works, I go into a math equation, I do all this stuff. And so it's actually helpful if they do watch the whole 40-minute thing, but they usually don't. And so what you want to do is take all the different segments, because each different segment and slide of this VSL, or at least this is a training video which I've converted into a VSL basically, is a belief that I need them to think. Like I need them to think that this works. I need them to think that Brandon is the person that can get this to work for me. I need them to know that I should do this now and not later. I need to know that this worked for other people. I need to know like all these different things. And so you take all those different beliefs that you need to have them and you just list them out. Like what are all the things you want someone thinking that if they bought, they're like, I know all and agree with all of these different things. And so you put that into like different content and nurture sequences. And so you guys have heard me like talk about the fucking PSYOP campaign I run, right? So I recently started doing this. I only spend, where is it? Where's my PSYOP campaign? I call it Resistance is Futile, this one here. It only spends, when it's on, $20 a day, which is actually quite a lot for this one. It targets anyone that was a lead in the last 60 days or anyone that hit the pixel in the last 30 days. So I do leads for the last 60 days. So anyone that like opted in for something or booked a call, it will get shown to them because like Tim will cold close a lot of people, but there's some people that like he'll do the call with and then they won't decide for like a couple of weeks later. And so we still want to keep berating them with all of this content so that Tim doesn't, well, he does anyway, doesn't need to keep emailing them stuff. They just get hammered by content all the time. It also helps them book more calls because Tim was mentioning like sometimes people like booked a call ages ago and then they're like, man, I just like keep seeing your ads all the time. I don't know what it is. And it's just this fucking PSYOP campaign that I'm just subliminally on their newsfeed all the time. So it targets those people and it optimizes at the ad set level. It optimizes for, it's just an engagement campaign for post engagement and it maximizes the number of impressions. And so all I'm doing in this ad set is, hey, if you have a fucking chance to show this to someone, do it. And so the frequency, like the average number of times someone's seen me in the last like 30 days, where's the frequency? It's like 26 or something, performance and clicks. 27. So like in the last 30 days, or actually it's only been running for like, it had only been running for like 2 weeks. So in like the 2 weeks that this was running before I turned it off because we came here, they saw me like on average of 3 times a day. 2 or 3 times a day. And every single, it just rotates between like this half dozen, like 8 or so different pieces of content. And each one, none of them have a button on them. They're all just a thing I want them to think. And so one of the things I want them to think, or at least know is we're a real company with real people and we meet our clients in real life. That's just valuable to some people because they don't want to know that, they don't want to think that this is some VA agency in the Philippines. And so one of the like pieces of content is literally just, Stephen's been a client for over 2 years after becoming a client over a text message conversation with Brandon. Finally got the chance to meet up while he was in Perth and popped into the office. And so it's just a selfie that the client took with me and our logos on the back wall. Like, okay, Brandon's a real person and his clients like him enough to take a photo with him. He took the photo, not me. There's another one, so testimonials. So just a montage of different testimonials. There's like 1, 2, there's 3. There's like Jack's testimonial where he's like, what did he say? Yeah, so that. We want to show authority. So here's me like on like a podcast, but then also this one's a testimonial too, where I talked about someone who enrolled and then in 30 minutes got a sale at a 25% higher price because I told him to change one sentence in his sales script. I want them to know that we're competent. So this one's literally just a photo of an award we got that says we're one of the top 5 independent agencies of the year. There's this one where it's just a photo of me like as listed as one of the finalists for like Australian Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And again, none of these have buttons. It's just, if they open their phone, they're probably going to see one of these posts. It's very likely. So do that. You can also, so in terms of framing, so that helps to frame them on like whenever they fucking open their phone and just like psyops them. It's just a propaganda campaign that you run. The other thing you do is the emails. So I've recently started doing this as well, is when someone books a call, they're just typically just curious. For someone to be easy to close, we want them to be interested. And so we need to bombard them with content on their feed and in their emails to take them from curious to interested. And so each of those like beliefs that I was talking about before that you want them to have, you just bombard them with emails 6 times a day, every 2 hours, during 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. as soon as they book the call. Because what's happening is, in their head, they've booked the call because they're curious and they want more information. But they might not get that information from the conversation for another 4 days. And so if you don't give them the information, they'll fucking try and find it and they won't like what they find usually. Because most people have a negativity bias. And so the feedback they'll get from people is negative. So for example, if someone's investing, books a call with my property investment client and they're curious about property investing, but before the call, they'll go talk to their parents or something and the parents will be like, no, don't do property investment. Your dad got scammed once, cancel the call. And then they won't show up to the call. And so the first email I send in the sequence is, hey, you probably heard some horror stories about property investment. Here's the real deal. And like, why do those bad stories happen? So they go, oh, okay, cool, got it. and then all the other things that you want people to think. So all the reasons that people wouldn't buy or wouldn't show are emails that you want to turn into pieces of content and like propaganda campaigns that you want to put into your email sequence. And you'd think 6 emails a day is a lot, but the open rate's like 80%, because they want the information. And so, like I was saying, we were talking about this before, Sev, with your thing, like every single belief that you want them to have, you just turn it into a piece of content, and then you run it in the ad campaign, and then you turn it into an email as well. And that means your sales reps just have like easier deals to close. Some things that help with the show rate too. So the PsyOp campaign 100% helps with show rates, because they just see you all the time. And I've given this, reference this experiment heaps in the 70s or the 80s, where they're just like, the more you see something, the more you like it, regardless of what it is, even if it's just fucking logos. And so if they just see you a lot, they just like you. And so the propaganda campaign helps with that. That's why it's maximized for the number of impressions. They've already seen me 24 times before they get on a call with me or Tim. Something that's also helps Oz Property Investment too is selfie videos, because the appointment is with someone that they don't know. And the person the appointment's with probably isn't the person in the ad, at least it's not in my instance anyway. And so they book a call because they saw Brandon in an ad, they saw Brandon in a VSL, but now they're booked in with like Tim, like who's this Tim guy, right? So something that's been helping Oz Property Investment is doing selfie videos, and it's really, really quick. So the automation I have set up for them is so that they don't even need to open the CRM system. It will just text the sales rep as soon as they get a lead or a booking, and it will just give them all their contact details and every single thing that we have about them. So it will be like name, email, mobile, like how much equity they have, what their income is, all this stuff, so that they can contextualize their selfie outbound video, because it shows that they're a real person that booked this appointment, and now they don't want to cancel on the person that just went out of their way to like send them a video. It's kind of like how Tim, like when you're doing car sales, you used to send them a selfie with like the clean car, like, hey, just got the car all cleaned up for you, like we're ready to go, just so they'd show to the appointment. And so what Oz Property Investment Center does is they'll shoot the selfie as soon as they get the text. They just drop whatever they're doing. If they're free, they just open their phone, open a like selfie video and go, hey, Brandon, just saw your application come in, looking forward to chatting with you. Your income and equity looks like someone I just spoke to the other day. Happy to go through all the opportunities that we were speaking about with them on that call. Looking forward to chatting. And then just shoot off that text. And then they'll do it from their personal iPhones, not the CRM system, because iPhone, like fucking 80% of people have iPhones. And so firstly, the messages, the video will come through crystal clear, because iPhone to iPhone, I don't know how the file compression works, but it's like fucking perfect. Android to iPhone, holy shit, it's fucked. Like we have one of the girls has an Android, so she has to shoot a Loom and then shoot them a Loom. But that's annoying because they had to click a link then, right? So just fucking get an iPhone. The other thing as well is the messages come up blue, not green. So what happens is they know that it's like someone personally messaging me from their iPhone. Automated text messages come through green. The other thing you do too is you mention your name in the first text message, so that because most people's phones, like they'll either have silence unknown numbers on their phone on, so if you try to ring them, it won't even fucking go through in the first place. And secondly, they've been scammed so many, or received so many scam phone calls the last couple of years, they just do not answer unknown phone numbers. Unless someone is very, 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 very bored, they don't answer unknown numbers. And so what you want to do is, before you call them, you send them a text and say, hey, hey, Michaela, like Brandon here, just shot this video for you. Then if you call them later and they don't have you saved as a phone number, the iPhone will go, if you call them, go, maybe Brandon. Has anyone noticed that feature before? So if someone like texts you and then you call them, but you don't have them saved as a contact, it will go, maybe Brandon. And they go, oh, okay, cool. Like it doesn't just say 0422, blah, 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 right? So that's super helpful as well in terms of like reaching out to the right person. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention, because you're going to talk about sales. I was going to talk about things linking with the sales process, but one thing that can be really helpful, which like killed for the Institute, is the pitch, the feedback story arc, which we use as the pitch, we also use in the VSL. And so that means that they just hear the same message twice. So if they watch the VSL, it's the feedback story arc, and you give them the same pitch, they're like, it just like retires down everything and they agree with everything. In terms of like sales and marketing and like messaging, often what happens is business owners will get too far into the details of like the technicalities of how things work, when really what is more effective is just a story of how things came about. So rather than saying, I give this example all the time with the Institute, where you'd learn to DJ clubs, international clubs during the day when it wasn't being used. I didn't know what was in the syllabus. And so because I didn't fucking write it. And so I couldn't talk about week 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever, or week 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, in the VSL or the sales process, because I didn't know it. All I could tell them was like a story of how each thing came about. So what the feedback story arc is, it's like a VSL template that I use, which is you tell the story of how something came about based on customer feedback. And so what that sounds like is, probably wondering what industry said is, before we cover kind of what it is, we had to really cover why it exists at all. And the main feedback we've got from, being in this industry for like the last decade is people were really sick of pre-recorded online courses. And so the main thing that you get is like one-on-one stuff. What that means for you is you accelerate way faster. And then the feedback story arc is you explain the pillar, the thing it gave, and then a new problem it created. And so then the second pillar would be like, but the problem that one-on-one coaching created was, you do a good problem, was our students got results so quickly that they just found themselves in this whole new echelon of the music industry, and they didn't know how to handle all these opportunities falling into that. So that we can handle all these opportunities, we do ongoing group coaching. What that means for you is they've always got us in your corner. And so it just explains the pillars of why everything came about, but explains why it came about first, and the why is always feedback from your customers. So it shows a couple of things. It shows one, that you get it just explains that you listen to your customers, and what you give them is what other people have asked too. So there's a couple like psychological things going on so that it overcomes the mental barrier of, oh no, we just came up with this way to make the thing more expensive so we can keep charging a monthly recurring subscription or something like that. And that's super helpful as well. Something else which really helps at the tail end of the marketing process is, I stumbled across this one accidentally for the Institute, but at the end of the sales call, the very last thing I do is, so you reduce buyer's remorse by adding them to like your community or something like that. So if it's like a Facebook group or a school community, you get them to make their profile, scroll through all the wins and stuff like that. I would make a joke at the end of the Institute sales call whereby, look man, there's a couple of rules to the group, like just don't spam your SoundCloud link, don't be a dick to anyone. But the main rule is, if you get a gig that you're really excited about and you don't post about it in this group, I've got your phone number, I'll fucking call you and yell at you for not telling me about it before posting it on Facebook or something like that, right? And so what that did was, all of the students were just like, every gig they got, they were just posting it into the group. And so what happened was, a couple of things happened. One, I had a fucking load of screenshots I could put on the landing page, which helped the conversion rate. Secondly, it helped mine and the other sales reps' conviction, because me and the sales reps were obviously in the Facebook group, and if every single day all you're seeing is all of your students kill it, then that conviction carries over into your sales process as well. So like I always tell the story, like there was a semester where after we had the group for a while, I closed 100%, like 16 out of 16 people dropped 2K over the phone with me, not Zoom, to reading out the credit card details. And it's because I was using, the words I was saying weren't different at all. It was just, I had more conviction because every single day I was seeing 5 of my students getting gigs. And I was just like, you could just hear it in my voice, my bro, why are we even fucking discussing this? We're obviously the greatest DJ school on earth. And so that tail end of the sales process, adding that in so that they post their wins, it's just this like flywheel effect where it helps your marketing, it helps your sales and all this stuff too. Give me a second to see if there's anything else that I should cover. I'll cover one more thing. In terms of the ads, you basically want to like disqualify people in the first line. So for example, I don't want to work with e-commerce business owners. So I mentioned this is the unfair advantage 259 plus service-based businesses use to grow their business. All right. I don't just want to say business owners. I don't just want to say entrepreneurs. Do we still get e-commerce people coming through? Yeah, some people are fucking retarded and they don't read it, right? Some other ways you can do it are just using the right lingo. So for example, e-commerce businesses don't want leads, they want sales. So I'll say stuff like, if you're struggling to get qualified and framed leads. And so service-based business owners go, yes, that is for me. You can chunk down even further and like reference tools that they already use. So that might be something like, if you're sick of buying leads off websites like High Pages or Zip Leads, Because we know if someone's like a home service business, like pressure cleaning or something, they fucking hate those websites. Or if they're sick of if you're sick of buying an Excel spreadsheet of solar leads that have been already sold to 10 other of your competitors, things like that. So really niche problems. It's the same example I give all the time where the reason Arcade Nightclub's organic socials just decimated everyone else in Perth when I was running it was I was just there all the time and I knew all of their inside jokes, I knew all of their inside lingo. And so whenever I posted anything, it just landed. And you had to be able to do the same thing with your ads and just like niche down your lingo a little bit more. So it talks like very specifically to like, hey, is your is the opportunities tab of your high level CRM system looking a little bit, janky? Or have you been scammed by an agency that pretend they had their own software and it was just white labeled high level? And they go, oh, fucking hell, this is exactly my problem, right? And so you can niche down the lingo there. Does anyone have any questions? We did that with Industry Set where we email them and SMS them the program overview, which is like, 10 or 15 minutes long? 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, so we've got to get it shorter. So like I want to refilm our Where You VSL and make it shorter. And yeah, we send that to them in an email. We text them to confirm, like, hey, have you watched this? And if they don't watch it and they get on the call, I think the sales rep, they just reschedule them, don't they?
No, they haven't been doing that, but they should.
Yeah, should, yeah. So because the VSL will like help frame the call because it gets all of the like red brain features, how does this work, how long is it going to take, gets all that discussion out of the way, and then you can just focus the sales process on just getting them into an emotional buying state because they already know how it works. They just need to feel like it's the right thing for them then.